And hello, everyone. My name is Keith Williams. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And I am here in Camp Hill, which is a small town here in Talladega County, which is right in the middle between Auburn and Alexander City.
We're going to start over. Did you say Talladega County? It's Talladega County.
Yeah, that's why I said Talladega County.
We're in Tallapoosa County.
Oh, Tallapoosa County.
Yeah, we really are.
I thought this was Talladega County.
Nope, Tallapoosa County.
Okay, I'm
So
sorry.
that's where everybody's going. They're going to Talladega County.
I'm sorry. This is
This
Tallapoosa County. I apologize.
It's an easy mistake.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, and it's right in the middle between Opelika, Auburn, and Alexander City, and which is off of 280, US Highway 280, that is. And we are here at the Disaster Recovery Center here, and we're going to give you a quick tour of what's going on here. This fine young gentleman here has been here since day one. His name is Warren Tidwell. How you doing today?
Doing all right.
You kind of tell us what's going on here and give us a tour of the Disaster Recovery Center.
Sure. You're currently standing in the communications room where you've been diligently working and volunteering all week.
Okay, so this is communication room. This is where I've been at hard at work here. Been here for about 8 days now.
Yeah, and so in here, it's kind of backwards, but we'll go the backwards way. This is essentially the war room where all of the maps are mapped here. If I get over here and see if I can get it fired up.
Okay.
Is it off? Okay. Let's fire this up real quick. This is where we use crisis cleanup to map all of the needs in Camp Hill, Alabama. And if you look here, there's a bunch of them.
And we just gonna zoom in on here.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you kind of explain what this is?
Well, this right here above as soon as all of this goes away, there we go. This is a map of incidents, requests through crisis cleanup in this town of 1,000 people, from people needing tarps, needing their homes cleaned out, needing mold mitigation, all kinds of stuff. And so essentially, when this comes in, we're able to print a work order, which is like this here. And people take those, they take them out, they go and they take care of what needs to be done, the volunteers or the skilled laborers. They come back, give it to us, and then we're able to change the map. Or if they've got the crisis cleanup app, they scan the QR code on the work order and it automatically adapts or adjusts the map. There's currently 8 organizations that have access to this. We are running it through our center here. But there's a couple of workstations here that are currently empty because we are at the end of our day, where the volunteer fire department of Camp Hill, Alabama, talk about working diligently. They've done a water rescue this week. They have tarped over 100 roofs. We still need probably 200 roofs tarped. And everything you saw on that map, in this town, 90% of the cars were likely totaled. We don't have a grocery store. We don't have a laundromat. We don't have a pharmacy. Like every other southern town, we do have a Dollar General, but it is across a major highway that is difficult to cross. This town has a number of elderly folks, a number of developmentally disabled folks on dialysis, cancer patients. There's a lot of at-risk and vulnerable people here. So this disaster has been distinctly devastating for this community. We have probably 400 who, a number more are food insecure, but we probably have 400 that can't get out to stores or to get anywhere that they need to go. But this is where everything that comes in here, our other room, and we can go in there and we can work through the 14,800 shelf-stable meals that were brought in by the Red Cross yesterday to be distributed. Volunteers are signed in there, and then they come in here. This would not have been possible without the volunteer fire department of Camp Hill, who, when I arrived, had a grand total of $32 in the bank after doing all of those other things. So if there's anyone who wants to support anything right now, they need support because they're using their vehicles to run and pick up food for people, big trucks, big trailers, and things like that. So that's essentially the long and short of what we've got going on in here.
Also
We just need
notice this,
volunteers.
also this map over here. Can you kind of explain this map?
This was the original, the map that we did the EMA assessments on, and we basically worked our way all the way in and inward. And we did about 420 site assessments. And that's when I discovered that the scope and scale of this disaster is as much as a tornado. I don't say this lightly. We would have been better off almost if we'd have gotten a tornado, because we don't have a disaster declaration. We have homes with ceilings falling in on inside from this hailstorm. As I said, with the vehicles, they're all destroyed. This is a true climate disaster, climate catastrophe, and it has affected this town in a devastating way.
And I see that we got someone else in here. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Dion Meadows. I'm a junior at Auburn University. I'm majoring in political science and minoring in sustainability. And I'm here to assist Warren as the assistant.
Community resilience coordinator.
Yeah.
That's right. We've got a community resilience team. We just need volunteers.
So right now I'm just in the process of like taking everything in, trying to figure out where I fit in. Yeah.
And we certainly thank you for being here and volunteering, doing what you do. Appreciate you. All right, let's continue our tour here.
We're going to walk through here back to where there, as I said, we're kind of going backwards, but we're going to go where the volunteers are. These are all the shelf-stable meals will be distributed tomorrow. And we've already had the Salvation Army Red Cross serve about 4,500 meals, hot meals this week. We had the Woodstock Baptist Church from Brookwood, Alabama, or at least from Tuscaloosa County, come over and cook 400 meals for folks. And we've had hundreds of sheets of plywood, screws for the broken windows brought in. We've had hundreds of buckets. We've managed to distribute the buckets. Sadly, we're putting Band-Aids on these houses now because of the tarps. And that's only going to be a temporary thing. We're already starting to see some of them tear. But regardless, volunteers come in here, we're signing the volunteer hours. This is the current thing that we're giving out, crisis cleanup. It's a really amazing app that's helping us do some good work. We've got a great plan in place. We've got a great procedure in place. We've had one news article from a newspaper from a local metro that is about 100,000 folks, not a little more. And we've had one volunteer in this little town that is 15 minutes. I'm not sure what to make of that yet, but at this point in time, we are 2 weeks into this, and we're self-sustaining at this point with the support of big organizations. We have had fewer than 20 volunteers come in and help us at this point, and we need a couple hundred just to get on top of it.
Okay, let's see. And I see that you got some water here. Will you be needing bottled waters?
No.
Okay.
We will not. We can handle the water, and I say that because unfortunately I've worked a lot of disasters, and a lot of water comes in, it's left in parking lots. It actually goes to waste. The biggest thing that we need right now is there are organizations or churches that can, make 400 meals, sandwiches, hot dogs, or whatever for lunches and dinners. For now, we're trying to work out a transportation system to get folks out and get to where they need to go. We have folks who have children who have doctor's appointments in Birmingham, which is an hour and 45 minutes away from here. So this is a multifaceted thing at this point, and we're just trying to get our hands on it. Number one need, volunteers to go out and do needs assessments, take these work orders we've got, ensure that these are still accurate, because some of them are days old, and help us figure out which one of the homes, how many of them need to be prioritized.
Okay, what else we got here?
Well, I was going to say, thankfully our food pantry folks have their stuff in here, but we can walk outside if you want.
Okay, so kind of give you a quick, this is the food pantry here.
It's a little bare right now outside of the boxes we have.
Okay, all right.
But CJ Marvitt handles the food pantry, does a wonderful job. However, CJ had all of their vehicles destroyed in this and had their house severely damaged. The issue with this disaster is the local folks I worked with couldn't do anything because they didn't have transportation. Some of them have local businesses that they run from here and they ship out of the post office. The post office roof was collapsed. So they didn't have a way to get their product to the post office. And even if they did, the post office it just collapsed. So we've been having to, support CJ in any way that we can. CJ's done a wonderful job. But the thing that gets me is we walk out here. We're in the middle of a major disaster that is like a slow moving hurricane through some of these homes. And as you walk out here, you wouldn't know it. It's an invisible disaster. We have public housing right over there where we had 50 cars totaled, and many of them on the other side of the fence, the other side of the trees over there. Many of them, they're still sitting there. And so these folks have liability insurance. We have to come up with a program. We need nonprofits to come in and help us figure out a way to get windows in these cars. So as it stands right now, we're at a tipping point. It could go one way or the other. And unless we get volunteers in here to help us do these assessments, we get skilled volunteers to do tarps so that we can put Band-Aids on these houses. This town's in trouble.
All right. There's also another building here that you want to tell me about.
Oh, the Universalist Church.
Yeah.
I believe this is the second oldest Universalist church in the southeastern United States. Has beautiful stained glass, and thankfully the only 4 panes that were exposed there were the only ones damaged. We currently have water coming in the roof over there, and we've been so focused on the people of the town. Like that is, we want to save the building, we want to make sure it's okay, we want to get everything fixed up on there, but we got to take care of the folks in the town now. The facility where we are standing, you want to walk out here to get a bigger view of it. This was the First Baptist Church of Camp Hill, and the town of Camp Hill bought it. It's a municipal complex, converted into a municipal complex. They spent $77,000 of their ARPA money. Unlike the state of Alabama, spent it, on the people and ethically and correctly. But then the fellowship hall was converted into the town hall. They added in the drive-through, and they spent $30,000, so $100,000 for all of this we're operating out of. The old town hall didn't even have grounded plugs. So this, thank goodness, we've got this space. 22-year-old mayor of this town, Messiah Williams. Thankfully, Messiah site to purchase this, because if we didn't have this to operate out of, there's not a lot of places like this to operate in the town.
There's also a building behind here, behind Town Hall, actually.
Yeah.
I want to tell a little bit about that.
That was the original parsonage. It's about 100-year-old building to the Universalist Church. We are turning it into a community center. We're going to run a nonprofit out of it to oversee the long-term recovery. What we're doing in this town right now, no small town in Alabama like this has ever done. We actually have our logistics set up to do the response. We're going to get through the initial response. We're going to do case management for the individuals who are affected, connect them with nonprofits and churches and others to help them. And so we had already gotten the electrical, we'd already gotten the plumbing and everything done. And so we got some windows to fix now. We got to finish a remodel in the kitchen, but that's what it's going to run out of. It's got a great big front porch. I'm a big advocate for building more front porches. Front porch organizing is where it's at. Thankfully, we've got this centrally located here. Right now, we're using it for storage for some of the donations. Outside of Red Cross and Salvation Army, this town has had little to no help. And we're going on 2 weeks now. They've taken punch after punch, and they're still standing. We were on the brink before this even started. This town was on its knees, and it's going to take everybody pulling together. I don't know that the townspeople even understand what's at stake here. We're trying to get the word out. When you're in survival mode, it's hard to care about what's going on outside of your front door. This town has been in survival mode for so long that they, feel like this is just something else to survive. It's how it works. And so if we don't get some of these roofs secured, stop these water leaks, they're going to be uninhabitable in 3 or 4 weeks. We're going to have mold in 3/4 of the town. This is a true disaster. It is a true climate disaster I've never dealt with. In 25 years of doing disaster recovery, I've never dealt with anything like this. And I'm hopeful that we can get the word out and we can get people in here, because we need the effort of people as if an EF3 tornado went right through the middle of this town. Because right now it's like a tornado hit, but all it did was damage on the inside of the homes.
Oh, how do you feel about all of this been going on and the work that has already been done?
I'm incredibly proud of the folks in this town who have stepped up. The volunteer fire department, who runs on a shoestring budget, and it's a frayed shoestring. You know, these folks, we're not that far from a fairly wealthy metro that has a lot of resources. I'm disappointed I haven't seen more out of the Auburn Opelika area, because I know them to be good folks. They have stepped up in the past and helped me. Right now, I'm chalking that up to the fact that there hasn't been much media coverage. This has flown under the radar between the Mississippi tornadoes, who they need all the help they can get, and the tornadoes east of here, just over the border in Georgia, who also needs all the help they can get. But the sad fact of the matter is that we have had probably 5 volunteers to go out in this community, and everybody in this community is still, you know, cleaning out their house, or if they can't, they're just existing in it. And what scares the thought that keeps me up at night is, you know, what would have happened if we didn't even have this effort that we've started going. So yeah, I'm feeling a lot of ways about it. This town is 90% African American. I think we're staring systemic racism right in the face. I can't imagine. I feel very much like I did when I was watching the scenes out in New Orleans. I'm feeling very much like that this shouldn't be happening, but there are reasons why it's happening the way that it is.
Yeah, I'm
none of
very
them are
familiar
good.
with that. When Hurricane Katrina hit the New Orleans area, there's been reports of a lot of African Americans that was displaced in New Orleans. They end up going somewhere else. And then once they was gone, that's when they decided to rebuild, and it's devastating. Really wish we could like give an example of some of the extent of some of the damage, like this house over here, right across.
She can only, Miss Rosie's 85 years old. She can only live in like one room in the house right now. Mold is already forming in the kitchen and in the living room. I mean, it's Miss Rosie and her walker. She's disabled. And as of right now, doesn't have any sort of help or support outside of what we've been trying to do. She's tough as a pine knot, and she is a brilliant individual, and she is resilient. If this town can be half as resilient as Miss Rosie's been, we're going to get through this.
So this is one of the main roads that goes through town here, that is connected to Highway 280. So right here. So this is if we can just get it.
Highway 50. A lot of the traffic to Atlanta, some of the wealthy homes on the lake. We also have a number of multi-million-dollar homes just 20 minutes away on the lake. This is one of the cars for the town. There were clipboards laying in the back of this, and it not only busted the glass, but busted the clipboards. And now this is actually not that bad compared to a lot of the damage I've seen. I've seen them go through the speakers, knock the speakers into the trunk, into some of these. I've seen sunroof controls hanging from the back. Now, I mean, it's not even just that. If you look here at the tail lights, and so this isn't just the glass. It took out the glass. It takes out the tail lights. You can see here about how big some of them were. This is some of the smaller hail in town. As it moved from here, it was mostly softball sized hail, some grapefruit sized hail. And, you know, this is it's pretty extensive damage, but most of the other ones we're seeing, the glass is shattered out.
So this is kind of give an example.
I stopped counting at 50 of these in public housing right here. So if you can imagine this times 50, that's just one neighborhood. And I'm gonna let the car go by. Okay. It's just one neighborhood. And I drove through and I stopped counting at 250 cars that If they were insured and try to get an insurance claim, they would hold. This is a town that's isolated, so a car is like having a member of the family. You know, you've got, I think 15 minutes is the closest grocery store away. It's 30 minutes round trip in a car.
So what are your needs right now?
We need folks to come help us do these assessments. We need folks to help us verify the stuff we're having on our map. We need skilled folks to do tarps. We've probably got another 200 homes to tarp, if not more. They're doing what they can, but we need all hands on deck. We need folks to look at this as if a tornado went through the middle of this town. And that's the frustrating thing about this particular disaster. I think this storm is a harbinger. I know this storm is a harbinger of future storms to come, because we're talking about a storm that there's nothing like it on record or anything that anybody can find in Alabama. An entire town, 2.5 square miles, being affected by softball-sized hail for 15, 20 minutes, if not bigger pieces of hail in a lot of the cases. So what happens? I mean, how many Camp Hills are there in Alabama? How many Camp Hills are there in the South, right? Like, that's the thing, is this is something that is going to affect other people soon. And so, you know, this is something a lot of folks, the EMAs around the state can learn a lot about this. We need a lot of the climate folks in here, you know, studying this. This is the future. We're staring it right in the face, and this is a pretty scary prospect for a town like Camp Hill. We're going to go one of two directions, and I don't want to go the one that is ends up with most of this town being uninhabitable.
So being here in Camp Hill for a while, what do you see in the future for this town?
The other thing is that if you go in two different directions, the direction I hope to see is one where we have a town that comes back, it's built more resiliently. We have a community that's more tight knit. We have a community that's working together, pulling in the same direction. We have a community that does not become a suburb of Auburn, Alabama, that is rapidly growing just down the road. That is what I hope to see. At this point in time, I'm concerned that a number of these houses are going to be uninhabitable. And not only that, what concerns me more than that is I know that some of these folks don't have a choice in leaving, so they'll stay, and they'll stay with the mold, and they'll do what they can to mitigate it. They'll do what they can to try and, you know, be safe within that. But we're going to see sick children. We're going to see sick elderly folks. It's a scary prospect.
There are also a lot of historical buildings here, like this property, this whole area that's, you know, surround us, probably within 100-mile radius, 100 feet radius. You know, it's historic here.
The home, if you look at like the one across the street, one of the dangers in this is these historic homes, even though they've fallen in disrepair. Of course, a number of folks still live in them. They belong to their parents or their grandparents. And it's hard to insure a historic home like that, especially when you're, you know, it's the only thing of value you have and you're living in poverty otherwise. But these steep pitched roofs that you have like across the street, so that people aren't getting hurt. We don't have any deaths or injuries from this. It happened at 3 a.m. Otherwise, we absolutely would have. And so we try to get skilled roofers and stuff to get on those roofs so that we can prevent this from becoming a situation where someone is hurt or killed.
So there is another damaged vehicle on this property.
I don't know.
Yeah, this SUV in front of us.
Oh, okay. Well, every direction. If you look over there across the road, they've got those damaged. I believe they got the glass fixed in the one back of it. People here are spending their grocery money on windows. They're spending their grocery money on rentals. They're spending money they don't have on things like that because they didn't have anything but liability insurance. And so let's see over here. Yeah. No, this is not the one. I think the one that we had that was
okay. It was okay. It's not.
Yeah, the one with the chief's thing was here, but it doesn't.
Okay.
Point being is you don't have to go. You can stand here you can see they got their glass replaced because they've got dents all in their car. Thankfully, they were able to get some glass in it so that they can get around. There will be cars with dimples in them in this town for 10 to 15 years, I feel like. You can kind of see the sunlight shining off of that flat building over there, and you can see where the softball size hail hit there. There's holes, the old buildings and stuff. We went around here, but in Camp Hill, talking about the poverty, if you look at this house over here that's falling in, right? There are a number of homes like this. They're doing a great job of getting the dilapidated buildings cleaned up and taken down, but they're still there. Now, this church right here across the way, this is Gracefulness Baptist Church. Pastor Charlie Pulliam invited me over, and they're already getting the roof and everything in, but it knocked the entire roof of the inside down onto the pews. And since the floor is concrete and slants towards the altar, there was 2 feet of water from all the rain that's in there. They've got a great, they've got a long way to go, but thankfully they're coming back. And they're getting what they need done. But you'll see the carpet down there by the road where they had to tear out all the carpet. I was shocked when this first happened. I thought maybe I was thinking maybe
this is actually what the front of the building looks like.
Yeah, you got a few pieces bent off there and trying to get some of the stuff, stuff done there.
All historic.
Oh yeah,
All
this is,
historic.
now, if you want to know about the history of Camp Hill, there's a story. I think it's All God's Dangers is one novel, and then of course Hammer and Hoe, which talks about the sharecroppers who attempted to unionize here in the 1930s, communist sharecroppers, and then the racial violence that resulted from that, and the local sheriff and a posse attacking the sharecroppers. And sadly, there were shootings and lynchings, and that's kind of a racial justice history that has, like most of it, been buried. But yeah, it has a deep history.
Okay, we're gonna get ready to close out here. If someone wants to volunteer, they want to donate funds, or they want more information, how can they what's contact information, how they can get in touch with you?
We are at 41 Hurd Street in Camp Hill, at the Camp Hill Municipal Complex. In the basement of the building in the front, you can reach me at 334-663-5472 until we get a hotline set up here. And just come by 41 Hurd Street, give me a call, spread the word. We need volunteers. We gotta have volunteers. I mean, I've never seen anything like this in my life. This town has been forgotten about. This is 2 weeks on, and it's as if nothing happened. If this were a tornado, we'd have folks lined up from Alexander City to Auburn, Alabama to help these folks here. I'd like to think so. But because of the situation being what it is, even though there was a newspaper headline of this 400 affected, at least 400 affected here, we've yet to see the support that I expected. So I need help. We need help. The town needs help. So just call me or come by the municipal complex.
And as you can see right now, it's kind of quiet here. There's hardly no one here, but what you expect to happen this week?
I expect national news media coverage because it's incredibly atrocious what's going on with this town that's 90% African American, and the fact that some of the wealthiest towns in Alabama are just down the road from it. I expect after that coverage, I hope that people who haven't come will open their eyes and help. Now, my friends, my network in Alabama and Lee County and East Alabama, they've helped supply like $5,000 in tarps, buckets and things like that. There are people who are working behind the scenes to help us, but if we don't get boots on the ground, this is going to be a casualty of climate change in short order.
Well, I certainly want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to do this. So it's so important that we get the word out about what's going on and the seriousness of what we're dealing with here. So I really appreciate that. Do you have anything else to say before we close?
Just thank you for all the work you've done this week. You've been incredible. there were days when it was only you and I, volunteer fire department, and I told you how much that means to me, and I want to give you your roses, but other people can hear too. You've been a great help in this town. Certainly appreciate you. We need about 1,000 more just like you.
Well, Warren, it's certainly a pleasure talking with you. I can't say, being here for 8 days has been a great experience for me. I really enjoy, being here. Really wish I didn't have to leave.
Yeah, we certainly enjoyed having you here.
But this won't be the last time that I will be here.
No.
Or certainly not. Of course, I will be working behind the scenes remotely. But if there's something like really major, that's happening here, I will be here.
Oh yeah.
And so hopefully we will continue to cover this as much as possible. This evening, I will be on Not Necessarily Political with Lonnie Malone. It's a podcast that's originating from Birmingham, Alabama. So I will be on that show. He has an extensive audience in the greater Birmingham area. So I'm looking forward to being on his show this evening. And so hope that you would tune in. Of course, it would be broadcast live on Facebook and YouTube, and it'll be available on all social media platforms and all major podcasting platforms. So this is Keith Williams here with one of the greatest organizers in the state of Alabama, Warren Tidwell.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.